In this famous Rubens, we see two very prominent letters inset in the folds of the sinister black robe, an upside-down P and an L, neither making visual sense in terms of the form of the fabric. Indeed, scattered across it repeatedly are the letters P, L, A, and G, and the robe is the key to the riddle. It was what doctors wore when treating the horrors of the bubonic plague. The year of the painting? Rubens tells us. Written in the lower right-hand corner, he says it was begun, inizio, in 1626 and finished in 1627, when the bubonic plague was ravaging Holland, exacerbated by the genocidal attempts of the Spanish to maintain their control over the country. They spell out the Dutch word for plague, plague, and one of its victims was Rubens' first wife. It killed her in 1626, and this painting, far from being just another depiction of Venus and Adonis, is an expression of his feelings at her loss and the agony of his separation from her. Radiography reveals that Adonis' expression was originally far more somber, but was later retouched the way we see it today. On her face, though, the red blotches of plague are still evident. Her name? Her parents gave her the name Isabella Brandt. The letters on her pale forehead are very hard to see. You may need to view full screen and freeze the video to make them out. The couple married in 1609, soon after Rubens returned from many years in Italy, and was appointed court painter, diplomat, and ambassador to the Habsburg then ruling the country for the Spanish, and they were very devoted to one another. He soon immortalized her in a number of portraits as a voluptuous lady with a cheeky smile and dimples. He was devastated by her loss, describing her as an excellent companion, with no capricious moods, all goodness and honesty. There are two faces hidden in the folds of the black drape of plague, referring to the terrible crimes committed by the Spanish against the struggles for independence of Rubens' homeland. The lower one refers to the atrocities of the Duke of Alba in the 1570s. King Philip of Spain condemned the entire nation of 3 million people to death, and sent Alba and his son to lay siege to Haarlem, where on its surrender he murdered the entire garrison, and then notoriously slaughtered all the inhabitants in the towns of Mechelen, Zutphen, and Naarden. The higher and larger of the two faces is the man who led the Spanish suppression of the Dutch in the 1620s, most notably through the 11-month siege of the city of Breda, which fell in 1625. 10,000 of the 13,000 inhabitants died. The general this time was called Ambrogio Spinola. Spinola was from the Genoese banking family that provided the banking for and indeed controlled all the finances of the Spanish Empire. He raised, paid for, and led an army of mercenaries, bringing pillage, famine, and plague in its wake. His war made avoiding the plague impossible. Rubens shows Ambrogio Spinola here as the incarnation of plague itself, and responsible for his dear wife's death.